All right, so in this video, what I'd like to do is talk about sales and sort of my journey in trying to figure out how to come up with a systematic approach in doing sales at scale. So one of the biggest problems that I have right now with my current sales tool is number one is I'm using Excel spreadsheets. And I think a lot of people can relate to this is you got a bunch of leads, you put them in a bunch of spreadsheet, and then you're trying to like figure out, insert who to call and who to talk to, etc. And this is what a CRM should do, but for some strange reason, we tend to like have the CRM tool, but then go back to the spreadsheet. And my problem is I'm trying to do this at scale. And one is that the CRM tools that I found out on the internet have not necessarily solved this problem in the way that I want to solve it. And number two is that it seems to be sort of a very disconnected, disjointed progress or process. The sales tools or the CRM tools did not align with the cold calling tools. And one of the things that I want to do in my sales process is to pick up the phone and dial numbers. So the CRM tool does not jive with this cold calling tool. And then the email marketing tool also doesn't jive with a cold calling tool, right? So you got this sort of like hodgepodge of a system. So in this series of videos, what I'm trying to do is one is I'm going to sort of give an overview of sort of the entire process. That's number one. And then number two is once I give you an overview of the entire process, then I'm going to kind of do more deep dive into what are the problems that I'm having with the current tool so it makes sense, everybody can think, and then why I'm building out my own system to kind of solve this problem so that you could hopefully get some value if you're building your own system. So with that, what I'll do is I'm going to switch over to the computer. I talk about a couple of things about how I gather leads, how I scrape leads. In a future video, that's what I'm going to do. And then about how they're all sort of connected in a way. Hopefully it makes sense, that might be of value to you. So we'll jump over to the computer and then we'll talk about the details. Thank you. All right, so here's the plan. So just to kind of level set to make sure that we all understand the different pieces that I'd like to talk about. So first of all, we have leads, okay? There's a series of people out there that we need to target. And these people are on multiple different platforms altogether. So obviously some of them are on Facebook, right? Some of them are on LinkedIn. Some of them are on Twitter, right? TWIT. And then we have, in my particular case, I have people that are on like association website, maybe not ASS, but yes, associate, you know what I mean, right? So we got Facebook, Twitter. So we got all these different platforms that we need to kind of target. And so one of the challenge that I'm having is aggregating all these platforms. So I have some sort of like a web scraper that kind of goes through and kind of collect leads from this. So we're going to call this a gesture scraper. And then theoretically speaking, these are ads from these different platforms that are running, right? Theoretically speaking, they're ads. So AD. And those ads are going to some kind of web form, right? And that form is giving you some kind of lead. So in the end of the day, you basically end up with some sort of lead. Okay, so from that point, there's a series of steps that has to happen in order for this lead to be qualified. And that's basically what I'm struggling with right now. It's like, how do I set up a system that can aggregate all the different sources of data and bring them into sort of a platform where I can kind of do additional information, sort of qualification on them. So lead qualification, right? So from once we get the lead, so let's pretend for a second that this lead here is in an Excel spreadsheet, right? So we're just going to go back here just for a thing. So this is an Excel spreadsheet, just for simplicity, okay? In that Excel spreadsheet, what I need to do is a few things. Number one is I need to send out an email to each and every one of those leads, right? Number two is I might send one email, and then I might wait a little bit, and then I might send a second email, follow up, and then after that, what I would like to do is make a call to that lead and try to see, hey, is it possible that you didn't look at my email, and did you have a chance to look at it, and is this something you're interested in, right? So that's the sales call. Then after that, if they're not interested, then or maybe I didn't even reach them on the phone, voicemail or something of the sort, then the email sequence continues, following up, trying to see if it's possible that I could get a hold of them, potentially even in this email here suggesting, hey, I tried to call you, didn't get a hold of you. I tried to email it to you, didn't get a hold of you. All I'm trying to do is just find out if it's something you're interested in or not. If not, that's okay. I know you're busy. We'll move on. Right? We just want to see if it's something you're interested in getting more information about, right? So that's kind of the goal from an email sequence. So let's call that sequence number 1. Right? So S1. So that's sequence number 1. So assuming that they're interested first for now. Let's go with they're interested, right? So let's say they're interested. So interested lead, right? So I for interested. If they're interested, then what I'd like to do, let's pretend for a second that I actually had a phone call with them, and I found out that, yeah, this person is at least interested in more information. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to send them a video. That video will be me going through my product, but it will also go through some of, maybe it'll kind of highlight a specific case or something that they're interested in. And then once that happens in this email, again, this is an email, right? This is happening side by side. So once that happens, then the next thing that once we send that email out, then you need another sequence. Another email that basically says, hey, just trying to follow up to see if you had a chance to look at the email previously, right? So this is a follow-up to this email here to see if you actually had a chance to look at that email. Maybe you didn't get back to me, so maybe I send another email, and that email will be sort of just checking in to see how things are going, right? Maybe you didn't connect with me again, so I might send another email, and that email might be sort of a hey, send some information, right? So I might send some information, a link to our website or something of the sort. So that brings me back to our website now, right? WEP. So on our website, I send you to the website, hoping that you would download a PDF, download a white paper, look at one of our videos, or I might send you to our YouTube channel, right? YouTube video. Right? So those are some of the general steps that I'm trying to solve. Now here's where the problem comes in with all this entire thing. The big problem here, let me change this, I don't like this color. So the big problem is over here, they're unqualified. I call them raw. They're just raw leads. I don't like the size of it. Let's drop that down a little bit. They're raw leads, right? They're unqualified raw leads. UNQUALIFIED. This Microsoft thing does not write properly. I find it kind of does some weirdness with the writing. It's trying to course correct too much. Anyway, that's a different video. So that's the goal, right? So these are unqualified. Over here, we'll call them. So here they're unqualified leads. Actually, yes, here they're unqualified, and we'll give them a quality score. If they came from here, then they have a score of 0 or point. So what I want to do is I want to give a point system, right? I want it for each lead that comes in. I'd like to give a point system. If you came here, then you got 0 points. But if you came from one of the ads or something, that you clicked on, maybe a form or something, then maybe I'll give you 1 point, right? And then when I send an email out to you, if you opened it, I'll give you another point. If you open the second, for every email that you open, you'll get a point, right? Point. If I talk to you on the phone and you show some sign of interest, then maybe you get 2 points, because I've definitely validated that that's the case. In other way, you get a point for each sort of email that you open. If you click on a link, then maybe you get 2 points, right? Any single thing that's high interaction, you'll get an extra point for that. Otherwise, you just get a point. If you download something on our website, you get a point, right? If you watch our video, you get a point, right? You get the idea. So that's the scoring system. So the idea is to keep scoring people, and in the end, what you should end up with is a series of people at different levels, right? This guy has 10 points, this guy has 9 points, this guy has 5 points. And then what you want to do is you want to call the people that are higher, a certain level up, right? 10 points and up. That's basically the goal. Now, the problem here is that I'm struggling to find an orchestration, a tool that could sort of solve this problem at this sort of level. And because of that is the reason why I'm sort of building my own. So what I'll do, I'll break this video up. In the next video, I'm going to go a little bit more in depth on how I'm trying to sort of break up those this list into more smaller pieces, and explain maybe a little bit more about sort of like the, how do you move each list. Else the problem here is that you end up with an Excel spreadsheet, and that's just not going to work, right? So I'll talk about that in the next video. So hopefully that this video makes a little bit of sense.